and welcome to video 4 of my Victorian Clara series. We have finished the base layers, so now it is time to start the fun stuff, the colourful stuff, and get working on her outer gear. So it is 11:50 on Tuesday. I did have errands to run this morning, so I couldn't start like at 6 AM, which would have been ideal because today is Tuesday. I want to get the underskirt done. Hopefully at least start on the overskirt, but that's where it gets a bit complicated. So underskirt, I have some basic light black fabric, and this is going to get turned into pretty much the same as the petticoat, like shape wise at the top, but it's tiered layers on her dress, so there's about 5, I think I counted 5. So to start that process, I'm going to measure from my waist down because I'm also wearing heels, so I want to get this skirt floor length. So I've got everything on so I can measure how long this needs to be and also how big my waist is now with 2 waistbands here. So let's do some measuring and then we can start cutting, because the sooner I can get this done, the sooner I can go on to the overskirt and the bodice, which is the part that I'm scared about. It's fine, it's fine. First layer, which is the shaped layer, is cut. What I'm going to do now is measure this bottom edge and see how long that is, and then I'm going to use that to calculate how long I want the next tier. All my strips cut over here. This is the last of the fabric. There was just the right amount because this is all I've got left and it is just right for the waistband. So I hope I don't run into any problems and it need a little bit more, because there is no more. This is it. I did realize something I forgot to cut. Pockets. So very important. This is just some random other black fabric. It's more of a cotton than this one is a bit of a shiny something. I don't know what. They're all from the op shop, so who knows what any of them are. But I think for a pocket this will work well. Now everything is definitely cut out, including pockets. I'm going to overlock all of these because I don't want to have to hand finish them or figure that out after I've attached it all. I think it'll be much easier just to whiz them through the overlocker now, as well as the bottom of this one, but not the top because that goes into the waistband and around the pockets, and then we can start putting it together. It is currently 20 to 3. Gonna sew some pockets in, and then we can do these side seams, and I'm going to put the closure in the back seam. Top piece with pockets is complete. Now I've got to gather the next row in to fit it on here. First tier is attached. I didn't really want the seam down the center front, which it is currently, but I also didn't want to make it into a circle just yet, and then figuring out where it would stop and start without putting it all into a circle already was just too much mental mass for this time of night. It's currently 6:30 and I'm so far behind where I wanted to be, so we're just rolling with it. Now I'm gonna sew together the second tier and then gather it up and then repeat stitch it down here. It's definitely not going to be as gathered as the original garment, but that's okay. This is inspired by, not complete copy of.
The final tier. I'm on it. It's not actually that late. It's only 10 to 8, but I am a grandma who generally goes to bed at like 9, 8:30 if I can. And I'm still here sewing. How do people con crunch? How do you do it? I would not survive this. I'm definitely not going to get this all done today. It's just going to be all the tiers and then I'll finish up tomorrow.
All right, day 2 of skirts. I did get all my tiers on last night. I finished at about 10 to 9, I think. So I want to get this finished this morning, which shouldn't take too much longer. I'd say maybe 2 hours, just because all I need to do is do up the back seam and put a waistband on, which are the part that's not going to take very long. But then I also need to do the hem, which means I need to put on my petticoat and bustle and heels and just check where the hem is falling on the front and the back, because I need more in the back because it's got to go over the bustle, and less in the front so I don't fall over it. So that's what we're going to start with. Getting so much better at my stitch in the ditch waistbands. Like, look, that's basically even. So my waistband is now on. I haven't interfaced it because I wanted it to be as sort of thin as possible. So none of my waistbands have been interfaced, so they're a bit flimsy, but they're fine. I just got to put a closure in the back here, and then we can figure out the hem. Clasp is on and it is starting to look like a real skirt, which is very exciting because up until now it's kind of looked like just a big mass of black fabric, but now it's turned into something. So I'm going to put on my bustle pad and petticoat and then put this on and my shoes and see where it's sitting so I can fix out the hem. You know what? I think for pretty much the first time ever in my life, I have done the maths correctly, and this skirt is almost perfect. It is a little bit long in the front, but that's fine because the back is just hitting the floor. So I think it probably could have been just like 2 centimeters longer in the back, and that would have been perfect, but it will work as it is. So what I'm going to do is a very small rolled hem in the back and try and make it a little bit bigger in the front just to even it out a little bit. But I think it should be good to go just with that. I don't need to do any major adjustments. So that is great because I need to keep this moving. So I'm going to quickly sew that and then try it on again just to check. and then we can move on to the overskirt. It is hemmed and perfect, and there's so much swoosh, especially in the back. I love it. I want to wear this all day, every day. All right, my underskirt is done and I love it. Now it's time to work on the overskirt, and this is where things get a little bit confusing. As you can see, maybe it's a bit dark, sorry. Hers doesn't really have an overskirt. It's all one with the bodice, and this one definitely has an overskirt. So I can scratch this piece because she doesn't have a little front apron, which is fine, easy done, scrapped. But this bustle piece on hers is part of it, which means figuring out this is the bodice pattern, figuring out where to extend it in what direction and how much, and I don't know. Or do I just cut the bustle maybe with a bit extra width so that I can connect it rather than at the side here, connect it to the front and have it be sort of all in one that way. So it's two pieces but one, maybe? Or do I take that as a sign to scrap the idea of an external overskirt, meaning I don't have to make that separately and I can start mocking up the bodice now, which is 10 to 11 on Wednesday, and then getting it right and sewing it all in one tomorrow? Does that work? I'll be back with my decision shortly. I'm going to go and stress ponder. Maybe I'll iron my fabric, and while I iron it, I will try and make a decision. I hate decisions. All right, a whole lot of ironing and a lunch break later, I have made a decision. I am going to spend the rest of this afternoon pattern making, and we're going to attempt to make this pattern into something more like Clara's actual dress, which means cutting out the overskirt in a way completely. Like, it's still there, but it's now part of the bodice. Because I think the bodice is going to be kind of tricky and take me a while, that is going to be a separate video. The overskirt was going to be in this video, but it's now part of the bodice. So this is just going to be a short and sweet tiered Victorian underskirt, which I love by itself. I think it's a gorgeous skirt. But if you want to see what goes on top of it, then stick around because the next video starts now. For me. A little bit later for you. See you soon. Bye.